Okay. Hi, good afternoon, everyone. Welcome to today's VizConnect, and I'm today's host. My name is Roland, and I'm from the customer success team, Tableau in APAC. And I believe like some of you are attending VizConnect for the first time. So let me introduce what VizConnect is for briefly. Okay, so since May last year, and then like till now we have held 29 sessions and invited like over 35 speakers, and 9 out of them are Tableau Zen Masters, and some are even from Zen Master Hall of Fame. We have more than 5,000 attendees now, and there is a YouTube channel which is by the name VizConnect, and there are like 550 subscribers by now. And there is another linking group, which is also by the name of VizConnect. And we have more than 600 members on LinkedIn right now. So as you can see, this is the VizConnect channel on YouTube. And like we are going to record every session and then upload to YouTube. So like even also for today's session, we are going to record it. And then if you are interested in this session, you can revisit it later. And this is a connect linking group. Yeah. So I believe like some of you today's content is on COVID-19 sharing, and I think this is like the best COVID-19 analysis I've seen so far is by integrating Python in Tableau to understand like how cluster infection in how people are clusterly infected by COVID-19, and it is what we are going to do by our solution engineer Marvin. Marvin is a solution engineer based in Hong Kong, and he has been working for Tableau for more than 3 years by now. He had also had background in statistics, and before joining Tableau, he worked for SAS. So without further ado, I'd like to pass the session to Marvin to share more with you on his analysis of COVID-19. Yep.
Thank you,
over
Roland.
to you, Marvin.
Yeah. So let me share my screen. So everyone can see my screen, right? Is it okay, Roland?
Yes, Marvin, go ahead.
Good.
Yes, we can see.
Okay, let me start my sharing. So thank you so much for introducing me. So I'm Marvin, and I stay in Hong Kong. So it's really my honor that I can share my COVID-19 analysis in this platform, because I know there are a lot of Tableau lovers in this platform. So I hope after this sharing, I can bring two takeaway to you guys. The first takeaway is, as what Roland said, I have used some new function in Tableau together with Python to do the analysis. So it is more that deep dive, and also I add some storytelling function on it. So I hope after this sharing, the idea can give you some new insight on how to use this function on your own analysis. And one thing I also want to mention is Tableau. I want to say that Tableau is not just a dashboard making tools, because there are a lot of COVID-19 dashboard already. But in my mind, I think the power of Tableau is the process on understand the data and how you present the data to your audience. So I hope you can get the power of Tableau in this presentation. And for the second takeaway, I hope all of you, after the sharing, can know more about the COVID-19, because the COVID-19 becoming a global issue. It impact our life, it impact our work, and even the stock market. So as the expert from the healthcare say that, whenever the government or the citizen doing decision, we should make it scientific. So scientific somehow means we need some number to support to understand what happened. So it tied with our mission that we help people see and understand data. So I hope that after you read through the sharing, it can help you a little bit on your plan of your life. Okay, and before the start of the sharing, I also want to show you what data are used for the analysis. So the first part for analysis is provided by Tableau. So as a company who want to fulfill the social responsibility, Tableau has established a data hub for people to get the data. Because COVID-19 data is everywhere, but which data will be trustworthy is the problem. So for Tableau, we work together with the community members and also the healthcare organization. We want to make the data clean and useful and put it in the data hub. So recently the data update in a daily manner. And let's take a look on the page. For this page, there's a lot of useful information, including a dashboard about the daily tracker, and we consolidate all the viz made by different community members. So you can scroll down and have to find out the button called Explore More Visualization. And you can see the analysis can be a globalized analysis, or maybe it is a country or region specific. So you can find out those you want to know and click to understand more on what they're doing. Another part of the Data Hub is about doing your own analysis. So if you are interested in doing your own analysis, you can always download the starter workbook. We have a workbook with a template and embed with the data. You can use it at the start of analysis, or you can start it from scratch. So that's the part that you can choose access the data. The data is stored in AWS, Data World, or Google Sheets. So if you plan to make a viz to share with public and also want the data to update regularly, Google Sheet would be a very useful source for doing analysis. Okay, but this time for my analysis, I want to download the flat file. So take a look on the data structure. So for my data, it has the information on confirmed case. Okay, the case we find people with the virus, and we have the death case across different period. Also, we can do analysis on different country and province. And I find that for my living place, Hong Kong, there's data included in this data. So that's why I download this data and start my analysis. So everyone, let's start to see and understand this virus data. Okay. For my first analysis, I do a very simple thing to use the waterfall chart to show what happened in a global trend. So we see that the whole COVID-19 spread starting from January to until now. And we see the number of confirmed cases change from just 3 digit into 2.4 million right now. So it's a very big jump of the numbers. So before I go through this dashboard to show you more major event happening throughout this timeline, I want to show you how easy you can do the analysis. Because for the participant here, maybe some of you are expert, but some of you may be new to Tableau. I want to tell you how easy you use Tableau to do analysis. So from everything start from scratch, when I put this Excel into the Tableau, you can see the data available at the left-hand side. So with measure and dimensions, it shows you that you can click the information to start your analysis. So for measures, it's the number I want to study. So the number of new case, number of confirmed case, death are there. For dimensions, it means different angle to see the to do the analysis. So that's why for my business questions, okay, no, it's not business questions. For my questions on COVID-19, it's about the trend of the confirmed case. So I find confirmed case in measures, I double click it, Tableau start drawing the information. And because this is trend analysis, I will double click date. So Tableau will put the date into the screen to let me drill down. And Tableau is so flexible that I can choose different time unit for analysis. So instead of choosing month, I want to show the most detailed information. So it's day. So this is the trend of what happened for the COVID-19. And you can see Tableau, you don't need to pick up any chart type. For Tableau, you just need to ask your question and click the question you want to answer. Then you can construct your things. But if you want to further enhance your presentation, Mascot would be a very useful tools for you because Mastercard can let you choose the right visual element. Because we are data visualization tools, we can choose the right visual element to present the information. So I want to change it to a Gantt bar, and I want the bar length showing the number of new cases so that I can realize how many new cases are there in every day. So I put new case into size. So they will use the bar length to show how many new cases are there. So compare with line chart, it's easier to read now. And I also want to use color to show how worse the case is with the case difference. So when I put it in color, it show me that the color with deep red color means there's a lot of new case there. And finally, I want to present the number. So that's why I drag the number of new case, a number of total case into label to present the number. That's how I make the analysis. So it's easy. And I can say that after I finish this first round of demonstration, we go to the more detailed part because this analysis not yet fulfill my requirement. So to fulfill the whole requirement, we have to take a look on different part of the timeline. Because if I just take a look on this line chart, everyone just focus on the right-hand side. Because this is a big number at the right-hand side, I cannot see what happened at the first 2 months of the trend, right? So you make use of filter, okay, to just filter the first 2 months to see what's happening. Okay, and even I want to enable one of the new function in Tableau. It's called animation. So you click animation in format, then I can turn it on. So what is the use of animation? So animation doesn't bring you any new insight on your analysis, but it's very useful to explain it using an example, movie and storybook. So when you read through your storybook and the movie, they may have the same storyline. But when you see the movie, the movement of the screen always stimulates your thought and you will draw your attention. So that's why I enable this function. And going back to my first dashboard, it's about the timeline. I also make a scrollable timeline at the bottom. So all the major event, I will add a timestamp on it, and you can click the timestamp to see the details there. So let's go through the story of COVID-19. Okay, so everything began on the 22nd of January. So at that time, we only have one data point. This is with 3 digits. This is 500 case. And you can see some major event with words showing here. And for easy to digest what happened, I also put summary icon next to the date, showing where did it happen for the major event. So at the beginning of the timeline, most of the things happen in China because the first outbreak place of COVID-19 is from Wuhan. This is a city of China, and at the 22nd of January, the China government tried to cut off the Wuhan and don't let people to leave from the city. And at the end of January, the number raised from 3 digit to 4 digit. And I can see that the number seems exceed the number of confirmed cases we find in SARS. So WHO start to declare that this is a global health emergency. So can you see for the with the animation, it draw attention on the change of number. So let's go through again. So it's interesting that at the beginning of February, there's a very famous ship there. It's called Diamond Princess Vessel. And all the people within this ship need to be quarantined and cannot leave this ship because they find infected people there. So they stayed in the ship for more than several weeks. Okay, but after all, February still have a lot of event from China. Okay, because once we reach 13th of February, the number jumped to 60,000. And this is the first day we find an increase of new case for more than 14,000 just within one day. And this number is all from Hubei province, okay, in China. And after all, seems China can do well control on the virus. So at the end of February, we find that the trend seems to be dropped, okay, and get flattened. But unfortunately, we find that this outbreak news start to happen in different locations, not only China, but other places like South Korea, like Italy and like Iran. It become a global case already, step by step. And because of this outbreak, South Korea and Italy start the shutdown of their city. And at the end of February, more and more countries involved in this outbreak, like United States, like Latin America, Europe, Africa. It covered all the regions already. And especially for Europe, the news say that the number of infection in Europe spike. Okay, the whole story shift from China to other countries. So in March, let's take a look. In the mid of March, WHO characterized COVID-19 as a pandemic. So it's very horrible that it's a pandemic in our world. And 4 days later, even WHO says that Europe has become the epicenter of the pandemic. Okay, a lot of cases break out from the Europe. So you see the number suddenly change from 5 digit to 6 digit. And coming to the timeline, I'm trying not to explain it, but you can see like France, like Germany, like even Japan and India, they have the news talking about the outbreak. So I know Sagar is from India, so just talk with him. He say that in the middle of March, they started to lock down their city. And you see from Japan, we all know that in this year we have a big event, Olympic game, but we had to postpone because of the COVID-19. Okay, and at the end of March, the number exceed 500,000. It's so crazy. And in April, what happened? So the spread of the virus is still continue. And at the beginning of April, we reached 1 million already. And some of the economic researcher, start to study the impact of this COVID-19 to our global economy. Okay, so do you see this very big impact? And more countries show their name in the major event, including Russia, including Africa again, even for Singapore. So those countries find they have a new wave of outbreak in their countries. So after seeing this, the timeline, I think we can draw two conclusions. One is that the platform shift from China to other countries already, and we cannot see the stop of the outbreak in a in a short period. So we can see from the trend, we still observe that the number of confirmed case will keep on going for the coming 1 to 2 months until everyone in the world and the government help to stop that. Okay, this is the first finding. And after the first finding, I would like to go to my second analysis, okay, to break down the analysis into different country. And I have made a bar chart here so I can see the rank and the number of cases for each country in different moment. And because I want to see what's the change in the different snapshot, I want to make it animated. So in Tableau, it's easy for you to make the chart become animated. You just to drag the time into the page. So after I drag the date into the page, I change the time unit into week. Okay, this time I don't play it by day because there are too many days there. By week, we can see the change by week. And we can see the play button at the right hand side. With timeline here, I can choose the speed. I will make it slow so you can see the change. And this is the beginning of the picture. So at the beginning, not many countries get the confirmed case. And China get 1,400. And I want you to focus on the country at the top and also the timeline. Okay, you can see the time in the title. I wanted to focus change of the top ranked country over the time. So I play it now and see what happened. At the beginning, even we have some other country with confirmed case, China still dominate all the numbers. So it become 10,000 to reaching 40,000. And the number seem get its peak at the middle of February with 80,000. Then everything changed. You see other countries start climbing up. You see the name of South Korea, Italy, Iran. And the whole situation changed at the end of March. Let's see what happened. The European country climbing up, and also United States. And at the end of March, United States ranked #1 on the confirmed case. And the number of from United States keep on increasing, but China they can keep the number to 80,000. And for the final snapshot, let's take a look on the country involved in the top list. For the top rank, they are still US and European country, but I can see a mix of country inside, like Brazil, like India, and even Russia. So some of them are the country with high population there. So without good control, the outbreak never can solve, never can handle it. So this is one of the observation from the uh, animated bar chart. And after we see some movement of the countries, there are some country under the spotlight. They are the country who we find that they can control the virus quite well to prevent them spreading all over the countries. One of those is China. Another one is not in the list. So who it is? So many countries want to learn from this country to see how they can prevent the outbreak of the virus again. This is the South Korea. So let me try to play again. But this time, we will find it's hard to trace only one particular country with eyeball, because when we see the animate bar chart, they'll keep on moving. So that's why we can make use of the function in Tableau. Tableau is a tool for storytelling. So I can highlight South Korea and play the video again. Let's see. For South Korea, at the beginning, they don't have much number on confirmed case. Okay, so just around 2 digit. But the game changed at the end of February. Let's see. Okay, we have hundreds of cases already. And at the end of February, it become 3,000 and it become the second number, okay, on the rank. And the number keep on jumping until it reached 8,000. Then seems Korea the government can control the number. So the ranking of South Korea keep on dropping. And finally, in the snapshot of April, South Korea dropped off on the top 20 list. Okay, this is what we find. And the question is, what happened to South Korea so that they can do so successfully? And to better understand the trend of South Korea, I will move on to my second dashboard to combine the bar chart and the trend together to see what's happening. So let me go back to the original page. Okay, the trend at the right hand side is exactly the first analysis I'm doing, but I have done some modification. So you can see two trends there with the number of cases in China and the country out of China. So let me do a zoom in. So there's a very interesting finding at the moment. At the beginning of the outbreak, okay, from January and February, China seemed to contribute all the numbers of confirmed case in the world. And for other countries, you just see maybe a few hundreds of number. But the games change when we reach the start of March. So China seems to get their number flattened, no new case anymore. But for other country, they start climbing up. And on the 15th of March, this is the milestone that we find the number of confirmed case outside China exceed the number in China. Okay, this is the first discussion so far we have during that period. Many people talk about this situation. And now we go back to the drill down of each country. So if we click into the country or territories, we find that we can zoom into the trends of that country. So for most of the country in the top list, like US, like Spain, Italy, when you see the trend, they're all having the uptrend at this moment. So we cannot see any slowdown on the trend at this moment, except we see China. They show a good example on how they control the virus, but they find that the way how China do to restrict the activity on citizen cannot apply to their countries because there's two different approach to handle it. So that's why another country they want to take a look is South Korea. So this is another perfect model we see how the virus control, and then it start to be slower and slower on the increase of the number of case. So in terms of the expertise, they say that in a perfect trend, they see 3 period there, including the incubation period. At that period, no one aware of the virus. But in fact, the virus is spreading all over the community. Why? Because COVID-19 have a very long incubation period. So it's longer than 14 days. So the people getting the virus, you never know because there's no symptom, but you do everything as usual. So the virus spread to the society until the people get sick and they go to the hospital, then they realize that they get positive on the virus. And the citizen and also the government start to be afraid and start to be scared about the situation. And this is what we call exposure period. And this is the most critical period for the government to take action so that they can shorten this period. So all you can see in Korea, they just use 1 month to control everything and reach the control situation. So many countries try to ask, what have they done? They say there are 2 points make this success. The first point is about they try to take the shutdown action at a very early stage. There's some news about the outbreak in the church. Once the outbreak is happening, what's happened? The South Korea government tried to shut down all the community and also the school at once to stop the outbreak. Another approach they do is the speed of test. So they say that if you can do the test quick enough, you can find out those potential virus carrier at the early stage and quarantine them to prevent them to spread the virus to other people. So that's why other countries start to learn from South Korea. And especially for US, you can see the number of confirmed cases keep on increasing in a fast way in these few days. So if we just focus on the number, it's quite scary. But in long term, it's good that we can find out those infected people as fast as soon as possible and control them. So it's good for the future. Okay, so that's what we can understand from the trend of each country and what other governments are doing towards this health crisis. And after we know the situation of other country, I go back to my own living place to see what's happening. So it's Hong Kong. So the trend of Hong Kong is quite interesting, right? So in terms of the outbreak, we say that we have 2 outbreaks during this 4 months. The first period is the time before March, and the second outbreak is the time after March. And this for this trend, I would like to use a more detailed data to explain to you what happened and what we can learn from this data, or what is the first wave or the second wave, what the government is doing to handle this challenge. So I find that the global data seems not enough to share my information, to do the analysis. So that's why I try to explore the data from the website to see any useful analysis. So one of the data would be useful is the open data provided by my government. So we have a detail on the confirmed case of COVID-19. So we have the record of all the people who get infected, and we have the information about their age, the sex, and also where do they get the virus. Okay, whether it's an import case or local case. Another information would be useful is the page that maintained by some volunteer. They try to put the case into this web page and show more detail about each confirmed case. They have the description, and also they show them where did they go, so they get the infection. And luckily, I want to get this information to my analysis. But the problem is this data is not really a structured data. So this is the first reason why I use Python in my analysis, because Python is the beauty of Python is totally free. So you can download freely on the internet and install in your machine. And there are a lot of package you can download it, and they have different functions. So some of the package, they can even help you to crawl the web data and change it into a structured data. So that's why if during this conversion, you can see all the data from the left-hand side as a list becoming structured data. Okay, I see someone asking question in Q&A, but let me finish the sharing first, but it has to answer you at this moment. So once I get this data, I turn it to my third analysis, a more detailed analysis on local situation. So this is what we call epidemic curve. So we use it all the time when we want to study virus spread in the society. So for Hong Kong, the line showing how the numbers go from 2 to 1,000 at this point. And I have made a reference line showing the breakdown of the first wave and the second wave. And another information would be important is the color of the stickman. The color of the stickman with showing what is the classification of the case. So they are from import case or maybe from local case. So it's important to understand because as you all know, Hong Kong is not the first origin for the virus. So for the first case, it must be import from other place. So the import case means those people travel outside and return to Hong Kong. And they have the first touch and second touch with different people. So we have local case because those people haven't go out before, but they find that they have other people in Hong Kong spread the virus to them. Okay, so that's why let's try to drill down. But before I drill down and share my insight, there's some brainstorming to all of you. Okay, here's the questions. It's not only for Hong Kong people. I know in this sharing, there's a lot of people from other countries, but please think about, see if this policy would be important in your country. First of all, the border closure. Do I need to block all the people importing to your country? The second one, compulsory quarantine. Okay, and the third one is talk about the social distancing enforcement. Do I need to block people going to the entertainment place? This is where I want you to think about. So after we know some idea of thinking about the scenario, we can drill down to the first wave. So the first wave is somehow easy because the number of confirmed case is not that much. So for every stickman, we have the detailed information about what happened for this guy. And luckily, most of the people say, why do we keep the confirmed case to be so low level? It's because of the experience in SARS. At that time, 10 years or more ago, we experienced the pain of SARS. So all the people learn from the case. And whenever we get the news from China with the COVID-19, all the society turns into the panic situation. The people keep on finding trying to purchase the face mask as much as possible. This is the first case we have in the first 2 months. So take a look on the import case. Can you see that? When I highlight the import case, most of the import case is start from the beginning of the wave. Okay, and then some of the some of the import case can be found at the later stage. But of course, for every wave, we must have some import case to bring the virus into our society. And let me show you who they are. So I have the outbreak source to know where do they come from. So I turn on the button, change them from the icon of stickman into the source. So most of the people at the beginning, they are all imported from China. So that's why at that point, Hong Kong people start to argue or urge the Hong Kong government, can you start to close the border between China and Hong Kong so that we can prevent from the outbreak? But finally, we don't have a complete shutdown of the border. So this brings some local case coming out. So this is the case of local case. At the middle of the wave, we see the local case there. And can you check the ratio? So for the import case, we only have 25 people. But for the outcome, we have 75 people which get the virus in the local society. So can you see virus will be quite harmful If there are 1 people getting in, it will spread to 2, 3, or even more people. So that's why we have to control it well. And you can see for the local case, there are some interesting terms like hot pot family, Buddhist temple. What are they? So for our creative social media, they want to give the name for the people who try to get the virus in one gathering, and so that you can remember that social gathering is not good when you see this term. Okay, all the social medias try to brainstorm, try to wash our brain, try not to go social media gathering. Okay, and after the first wave, we can I change it back to a stickman icon. We can zoom into the second wave. The scale of the second wave is much bigger than the first wave. It is quite horrible. And let's take a look on what's happening. We have a lot of import case in the second wave. So you can imagine, where do they come from? They are all Hong Kong citizens, but because of several reasons, they go to travel or they stay there for studies. So when they find Europe and United States is not safe, they return back. But they bring the virus together to Hong Kong. So we see a lot of people from for overseas study, or they have a trip in Europe or US, they return. Okay, and because of this situation, Hong Kong government doesn't have any strict law to these people. So at the beginning, they just asked those people returning from overseas, please have a self-isolation. But the problem is, people usually not like to obey the rule, or people sometimes is selfish. So when you ask them to do self-isolation, they go to the bar, they go to the Lan Kwai Fong. So that's why we see a lot of local case afterward. They spread this case to other people. So when at the beginning of the case we find local case Brussels, Hong Kong government start to do their first action. They make compulsory quarantine for the people who return from a dangerous place. Okay, but the problem doesn't solve. Take a look on the local case. There's an outbreak source which is quite interesting. The name of the outbreak source is called Lan Kwai Fong Band. So Lan Kwai Fong is a place that there's a lot of people going there with a lot of bar. So you can go there can have a drink with people. So the people returning from overseas go there, have drinks, and you make a big outbreak at that location. So it's not really a good thing. And we find that we still keep on seeing the outbreak from this social gathering. So that's why at the end of March, our government do one more step. They try to shut down all the entertainment facilities like bar, like fitness center. And after all, we see that number of cases drop down. Okay, because most of the import case come back to Hong Kong already. And because of shutdown, people cannot go out for social gathering anymore. So recently, we only see 1 to 2 new cases per day. So it's a good sign to us, but we can never be relaxed. Okay, this is what we learn from. So after all, after you know the situation of Hong Kong, let's think about again. Do this action from government useful to you guys? Okay, to your countries? And after I know the situation of Hong Kong, I always see some terms about the cluster, like the Hop family, like the Lan Kwai Fong Band. I'm thinking the way, if we are possible to visualize the cluster, so that I can know the relationship between the people, and then I can know how the virus spread from the beginning to the end of the cluster. So I have done some studies. I find that there's an analysis which is really useful for relationship studies. This is called network analysis. So this is the second reason why I use Python again. Because for Python, they have some package which can help us to do advanced analytics. And for Python, after you put your data into Python, they will generate a cluster for you, just shown at the left-hand side. But the problem of seeing this cluster generated by Python is it's hard to drill down, and it's hard to see the detail. So that's why I put all the data in Tableau. Tableau helped me to visualize the result. So there's a lot of cases that Python and Tableau can work together, because Python extends the analytic capabilities, but Tableau can help you visualize data. So it's good. Let's see how I visualize the information. This is the level diagram of the social outbreak in Hong Kong. So Python helped me to assign the case and also the address in the screen. So when you see those clusters outside of the circle, they are also only small cluster. But when you see some big cluster, they're all located in the central. And Python do a good thing that they provide the cluster ID to all the confirmed case. So I can use this cluster ID to do a drill down. Of course, the cluster ID is just a number, so that's why I rename it to a more familiar number name, like the Hotpot family, like the Diamond Princess. So once we have this information, we can start our drill down. First of all, let's take a look on the Hotpot family because the name is interesting, right? So why do we call them Hotpot family? It's because there's a major place here. So I have some icon to represent the people and also the location. So there's a dining place here. So it's called Lentil Party Room. So if I use the highlight function in Tableau, I can highlight all the location which link with this address. We have 10 people going to this place together. So they are all in the family, all in the same family. They have booked a private room, and then they all have a hotpot together. Because of this close contact, they all get infected. So this is the hotpot family. But what is the impact of this hotpot family? Because once they finish the hotpot and they go back to work, so you can see the number of the case 30, they go back to the working place. So the icon is like a work case. 44 and 30 seem work together in this place, and 44 get infected. So what is the explanation of their relationship? They work as a colleague. So can you see the power of that diagram? It helps you understand the relationship for people. And with the presentation of Tableau, I know the first case is 27, and the last case is number 600. And of course, we can go on to see more and more cluster. At the beginning of the outbreak, all the cluster is in a small scale, especially for Diamond Princess Vaso. When the people return to Hong Kong, they didn't go to any other place because they are highly monitored, highly quarantined. They do not allow to go any place. So that's why their cluster is rather simple. Another cluster is like Buddhist temple. They do the same action as the hotpot family because most of the people go to the same temple, okay, to do their religion activities, and they all got infected. And it's lucky that those people they only spread their virus to maybe their family or spread it to 1 to 2 level. So the cluster for all these social cluster is not complicated or not comprehensive. However, there's one social cluster really show is horrible if we have social gathering without prevention. This is the Language Farm Bank. Okay, a lot of spot here. And this is the most critical moment that government have take action because of this story. So I better change the presentation so we can study this messy cluster easily. So I zoom in, going to the worksheet, and change the label to highlight. So I don't show the label until I highlight it. So it's a good way to present information. And I go back to my dashboard again. So what I do is Tableau allow me to zoom in. Let's take a look on the messy cluster. For most of the cluster, most of the point, if they have a highly connection with all other people, they will locate it in the middle. So we can see a lot of people and also a lot of play in the middle of the cluster. So let me take a look where they are. I click the state location. Sorry about that. I'm using Chinese for the presentation because the data only have Chinese word. But let me explain it. For those location at the middle, they are all bar in Central and also Tsim Sha Tsui, which is a location that people like to have drinks together with other people. So then you see those bar, they are all in the same group of restaurant group. And you see a lot of people linking with this bar. And the problem is these people seem to travel along with this bar and try to go around and around. So compare with the previous cluster, it's totally different. because those people go to the social gathering place a lot, and they are served through social gathering place. So make a guess who they are for the people in the middle. They are all the people, or they are all the people which is the member of the band. So those bands are recruited by the restaurant group, and they ask these band members to travel around this bar to have a performance with the customer. So that's why if one of the members get infected, they will travel around and spread the virus to other people. This is how horrible it is. And it's interesting that you can also see some location from pure fitness. Why Python helped me to link up these two clusters together? Let's take a look. Because we can make use of the highlight function. I want to highlight a person. The name, sorry, I forget the number. It should be 227. Let's highlight on 227. I can type the key and show highlights to highlight 227. For this person, can you see he reached to the bar once, and he also is a healthy people. So he go to the pure fitness center. At this point, they try to bring the virus from the bar to the fitness center to other people. And let's see how is the consequence of this link. Once we know it's pure fitness center there, we try to highlight, okay, all the pure fitness center. We find that there's a person, he like to travel to different pure fitness center because he get infected in this center. He spread the virus to other people when they go to the gym room or other place. This is how we link up the whole cluster. So can you see how level analysis can help you understand the relationship of people? And at the end of this analysis, I want you to think about what should we do, okay, to prevent the virus to spread even faster. Everyone, are you all self-aware enough to prevent all social gathering? Whenever you go social gathering, there will be a chance that you will create another social cluster again. So think about help us, help yourself. Don't go social gathering. And after all, I want to make a map analysis to highlight all the place which is in high risk, because I have the location of where the people going. So I put this data into Python, and I use a package called geocoding to turn all the address into a latitude and longitude, and showing to Hong Kong citizen which area we have a lot of high risk place there. So most of the high risk place is in Hong Kong Island. So we click Hong Kong Island, you can see where they are with the name. Okay, and but I have I think about other application. So if we still need to go to office for work, or maybe I want to know whether my home location, whether it is high risk or not, can I make an analysis on my home own location? So that's why I can turn on the button, and with the function of Python, I can type my office location like Lee Garden 3, and the Python try to find out the location, and I can click this button to change my office location onto the map. So the blue location showing where I am for my office is the Lee Garden 3. And I do a zoom in, I can see a detail on what's happening. So this is the new function for map analysis, so that I can do application to share what happened. So when I mouse over the circle, it tells me that we have 144 high-risk spot near your office, and the closest point is in Hyson Road, number 8. So if I go for lunch, I have to be aware of this place. Okay, so you may ask, how can I use this function on the map analysis? So in fact, map analysis is always our focus for Tableau. So you see, when we have adding some new function in our new version, we keep on enhancing our mapping function. So in this presentation, I have used the new function called buffer. The buffer draw the circle for me at particular point. So you can define how big is the buffer. I draw 1,500 meters for the circle. And the function of distance help me to calculate the distance between point and point. So it become a good function for me to know more about the relationship of the points. And all of you should know that we can integrate with Python. So that's why I've input a Python script inside Tableau for instant geocoding. So whenever you type your location, then I can find the latitude and longitude and put it in Tableau. So this is how I make an application to help people understand their situation. And finally, that's the end of the sharing of this analysis. But I find that once I finish this sharing, this analysis, there's a problem that I use both Tableau+Prep and Python to do the data preparation. So if I try to continue my data update, it's not easy because Python is in one environment, Tableau+Prep is in another environment. So for the new version of Tableau+Prep, we give a great function to you guys, is to combine your Python script and your Tableflow together. So you don't need to manage your data flow anymore in two places. You can just stick on the Tableau+Prep builder and then you manage everything. So this is the third reason why I put Python in my analysis. Okay, that's the end of the sharing. So before I stop sharing, I want to do a summary on what I've done. The first one, I've made a scrollable timeline, so it will be good if you want to share the story from time to time with a movement of data. So you can use those filter function or parental action function to make your own timeline. Okay, and we know that COVID-19 is still going up on the trend. And the second summary is the animated bar chart. It helps you to show the change of the ranking. So you can go there and find out that China and South Korea is the role model on the disease control. And the third analysis is the epidemic curve. And with the curve, we know that from the first wave and the second wave, what is the relationship between the government action and also the outcomes of the outbreak? And fourth is the network diagram. Whenever you have data about relationship, you can apply it. So besides the COVID-19 data, you can use it on fraud detection. So some bank can use it to show the relationship of the transaction. Also, you can apply on the retail if you have some promotion about people-to-people promotion. So you ask them to invite their friend for joining the promotion, then you can use the lever diagram. And finally, the powerful map function in Tableau can help you do a lot of map analysis. So the example in this point is the high risk map and also the home office location application. So at the end of my sharing, I think all of you will have a follow-up questions. That's what I have experienced in Hong Kong when people see this demonstration. Hey, Marvin, can you show me how I can write this Python script? Right? All of you want to know, right? Sorry that for this sharing, I don't have enough time to share my idea how I write the Python. So this analysis is just a beginning that all of you know, Python and Tableau can do such kind of analysis. And if you want to know how I make this workbook, in fact, I've shared the workbook in the Tableau Public. So you can search my name or search the keyword called understanding understand COVID-19 through Tableau, then you can find my workbook. The workbook is able to download, so you can download to take a look. And later on, you all guys can also add my link in because I'm going to share some idea of my experience on using some advanced skill on Tableau and also how I write the Python. So hope someday within my LinkedIn and also the platform of VizConnect, we can share more new idea on how we can do analysis. Okay, and that's all for my presentation. Thank you so much.
Thank you, Marvin. And that's all from us today. So thank you all for joining. And then the recording will be uploaded to YouTube channel. And yeah, if you want to revisit this session, you can visit YouTube, or as Marvin said, you can download his workbook from Tableau public profile. I've also shared the link in the chat window, so you can click it to download the workbook. Thank you.
Thank you. See you soon.
Thank you, Marvin. Thank you, Roland. Thank you, everyone. Be safe and take care of yourself.